Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is WireDogSec, back with another video for you guys. Today's video, we are going to continue on inside of TryHackMe with the Junior Penetration Tester room. This is the network security module, and this is the Nmap post port scans room. Learn how to leverage Nmap for service and OS detection. Use Nmap scripting engine, NSE, and save the results. Let's go ahead and dive into it. Task 1. Introduction. This room is the last in the Nmap series, part of the Introduction to Network Security module. In this room, we focus on the steps that follow port scanning, in particular, service detection, OS detection, Nmap scripting engine, and saving the scan results. And here's our progress so far. The first one was the live host discovery, then we did basic port scans, and then we did advanced port scans, and now we're on post port scans. In the first room of the series, we have learned how Nmap can enumerate targets, discover live hosts, and use reverse DNS to find interesting names. The second and third rooms of the series focus on the basic and advanced types of scans for network ports. In the last room, as shown in the figure below, we focus on how Nmap can be used to detect versions of the running services on all open ports, detect OS based on any signs revealed by the target, run Nmap's traceroute, run select Nmap scripts, and save the scan results in various formats. Here's the steps 1 through 9 here. This room will focus on these steps and how to execute them after the port scan. Answer the questions. We already got the attack box started, and I went ahead and started up the target box as well. So task number 2, service detection. Once Nmap discovers open ports, you can probe the available port to detect the running service. Further investigation of open ports is an essential piece of information, as the penetration tester can use it to learn if there are any known vulnerabilities of the service. Join Vulnerabilities 101 to learn more about searching for vulnerable services. Adding SV to your Nmap command will collect and determine service and version information for the open ports. You can control the intensity with -- version intensity level, where the level ranges between 0, the lightest, to 9, the most complete. -7v -- version light has an intensity of 2, while -sv -- version all has an intensity of 9. It is important to note that using the -sv will force Nmap to proceed with the TCP three-way handshake and establish the connection. The connection establishment is necessary because Nmap cannot discover the version without establishing a connection fully and communicating with the listening service. In other words, stealth send scan -s big S is not possible when -sv option is chosen. The console output below shows a simple Nmap stealth send scan with the -sv option. Adding the -sv option leads to a new column in the output showing the version of each detected service. For instance, in the case of TCP port 22 being open, instead of 22 TCP open SSH, we obtain 22 TCP open SSH, open SSH 6.7, yada yada yada. Notice that SSH protocol is guessed as the service because TCP port 22 is open, and Nmap didn't need to connect to port 22 to confirm. However, -sv required connecting to this open port to grab the service banner and any version information it can get, such as Nginx 1.6.2. Hence, unlike the service column, the version column is not a guess. So if you go ahead and try this out, let's go ahead and copy and paste this over, and we should get similar results as that screenshot here. But this is what they're talking about here. As you can see, the version information. Says note that many Nmap options require root privileges unless you are running Nmap as root. You need to use sudo as an example below, or sorry, above. Start the VM once it's started. Open the terminal and attack box. Answer the questions below. And let's see what they have for us. Start the target machine for this task and launch this following commands against this machine. And what is the detected version for port 143? Well, let's go ahead and just do it their way. We can already see some information here, so let's just go ahead and clear this out and paste this over And let's see what they have for us. The next question is asking about which service did not have a version detected with version light. All right, so it's going to be this dovecot IMAP-D. So let's go ahead and copy this over. And it says which one wasn't detected with version light. So let's try the run that scan again because I did not see which one we're missing. But let's go ahead and compare them real quick once the scan finishes. Looks like RPC bind is what we're looking for here. That's the one that did not return with a version. As you can see, we have the two results compared next to each other. This is the one without using the version light. You can see RPC bind version information here, and then with the version light, we can see that there's nothing in this version column here. So let's go ahead and continue to task number 3, OS detection and traceroute. OS detection. Nmap can detect the operating system, also known as the OS, based on its behavior and telltale signs and its responses. OS detection can be enabled using the -O. This is an uppercase O as in OS. In the example, we ran nmap-ss-o, then the IP address on the attack box. Nmap detected the OS to be Linux 3.x, and then it guessed further that it was running kernel 3.3 or 3.13. Let's just go ahead and copy this over. Go ahead and run that. We should have similar results as soon as this scan finishes. And there we go. It thinks it's, yep, running Linux 3.x. And then OS details here, Linux 3.13. The system that we scanned and attempted to detect its OS version is running kernel version 3.16. Nmap was able to make a close guess in this case. In another case, we scanned a Fedora Linux system with kernel 5.13.14. However, Nmap detected it as Linux 2.6x. The good news is that Nmap detected the OS correctly. The not so good news is that the kernel version was wrong. The OS detection is very convenient, but many factors might affect its accuracy. First and foremost, Nmap needs to find at least one open port and one closed port on the target to make a reliable guess. Furthermore, the guessed OS fingerprints might get distorted due to the rising use of virtualization and similar techniques. Therefore, always take the OS version with a grain of salt and then traceroute. If you want Nmap to find the route between your target, just add --traceroute. In the following example, Nmap appended a traceroute to its scan results. Note that Nmap's traceroute works slightly different than the traceroute command found on Linux and Mac OS, or traceroute found on MS Windows. Standard traceroute starts with a packet of low TTL, which is time to live, and keeps increasing until it reaches the target. Nmap's traceroute starts with a packet of high TTL and keeps decreasing it. In the following example, we executed nmap-ss traceroute to the IP address on the attack box. We can see that there are no routers or hops between the two as they are connected directly. So let's go ahead and clear this out and copy and paste and run it. And we should have similar results as the screenshot here. And we do. There's one. We got one for the hop. It is worth noting that many routers are configured not to send ICMP time to live exceeded, which would prevent us from discovering their IP addresses. For more information, visit the active reconnaissance room. So check that out if you haven't done so already, or check out my video over it. And answer the questions. Run nmap with -O option against the following IP address. What OS did nmap detect? Yes, we have Linux. So let's go ahead and continue on to task number 4 here. And before we get into it, I'm going to just go ahead and terminate this machine. Nmap scripting engine, NSE. A script is a piece of code that does not need to be compiled. In other words, it remains in its original human-readable form and does not need to be converted to machine language. Many programs provide additional functionality via scripts. Moreover, scripts make it possible to add custom functionality that did not exist via the built-in commands. Similarly, Nmap provides support for scripts using the Lua language. A part of Nmap scripting engine, NSE, is a Lua interpreter that allows Nmap to execute Nmap scripts written in Lua language. However, we don't need to learn Lua to make use of Nmap scripts. Your Nmap default installation can easily contain close to 600 scripts. Take a look at your Nmap installation folder on the attack box, check the files at user share nmap scripts, and you will notice that there are hundreds of scripts conveniently named starting with the protocol they target. We listed all the scripts starting with HTTP on the attack box. In the console output below, we found around 130 scripts with the HTTP. With future updates, you can only expect the number of installed scripts to increase, and that's what that looks like here. So if you're wondering how to search for particular scripts, right, you can try to use something like this. So I'm not going to do it on my machine here, but this is what an example looks like. You can specify to use any or a group of these installed scripts. Moreover, you can install other user scripts and use them for your scans. Let's begin with the default scripts. You can choose to run scripts in the default category using the dash dash script equals default, or simply adding the dash S capital C. In addition to default, categories include auth, broadcast, brute, default, discovery, DOS, exploit, etc., etc. You can see the rest there. A brief description is shown in the following table here, and this is what they look like here. I'm not going to read through all these, so be sure to pause the video and check those out. Some scripts belong to more than one category. Moreover, some scripts launch brute force attacks against services, while others launch DOS attacks and exploit systems. Hence, it is crucial to be careful when selecting scripts to run if you don't want to crash services or exploit them. We'll use Nmap to run a send scan against the IP address and execute the default scripts in the console shown below. The command is the following here. This is what it looks like here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste. And it says where dash S capital C will ensure that Nmap will execute the default scripts, allowing the send scan or following the send scan. There are a few details that appear below. Take a look at SSH service on port 22. Nmap recovered all 4 public keys related to the running server. Consider another example, the HTTP service at port 80. Nmap retrieved the default page title. We can see the page has been left as the default, right? So we have similar results as they're talking about here. You can also specify the script by using the dash dash script, and then inside of double quotes, the script name, or a pattern such as dash dash script, and then in double quotes, FTP asterisk, which would include FTP dash brute force. If you are unsure what a script does, you can open the script file with a text header, or sorry, text reader such as less, or a text editor. In the case of FTP-brute, it states performs brute force password auditing against FTP servers. You have to be careful as some scripts are pretty intrusive. Moreover, some scripts might be for a specific server, and if chosen at random, will waste your time with no benefit. As usual, make sure that you are authorized to launch such tests on the target server. Let's consider a benign script, HTTP-date, which we guess would retrieve the HTTP server date and time. And this is indeed confirmed in the description. Get the date from HTTP-like services. Also, it prints how much the dates differs from local time. On the attack box, we execute the following here. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to copy and paste this over. And we should have similar results as that screenshot there. So clear all this stuff out, and then we're going to paste and let it run. Finally, you might expand the functionality of Nmap beyond the official Nmap scripts. You can write your script or download Nmap scripts from the internet. Downloading and using a Nmap script from the internet holds a certain level of risk, so it is a good idea not to run a script from an author you don't trust. And we do have some results here, and that's absolutely true. As with any other things you get off of the internet, be sure you're using trusted sources and you know what you're doing. All right, so question time. Knowing that Nmap scripts are saved in user share Nmap scripts on the attack box, what does the script http-robots.txt use? Hey everybody, just a quick little blurb here. As you can see here, most people that view my channel are not subscribers. If you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you're enjoying the video, please consider hitting the like button. It helps get me in the algorithm, helps spread the good word out there, helps bring more people and increase our glorious community here. All right, I'm all about helping out others. I know what it's like to come up in cybersecurity or even try to get into cybersecurity and not knowing where to look. I'm just having this channel up so I can help out other people. All right, that's all I got. And what we're looking for here is you're going to navigate to that appropriate directory where the scripts are located, right? And you're going to cat out that particular script, right? And I catted it out and I'm piping it into less. So if you do that, you can go through and analyze the information here, and you can see that disallowed entries is what we're looking for here. And once you do that, you can hit Q to exit out of there. And the next one is asking about what script checks for this particular vulnerability here. And the way I did that here is all I did was to do a ls http and then a star at the end, so you can pull up everything referencing http. And as you're going through here, you can see the CVE numbers, and you'll come across that particular CVE in question, which is these 2015-1635, and that's what we are looking for here, like so. Have it highlighted. Now, the next one, we have to do some actual scanning, which I've already done. This should save on time. Okay. Now, this one that we're looking for right now is port 53, and we want to understand what um, service listening on that port. So if we analyze our results here, we can see that it's this here, this bind.version, and then 9.9, yada, yada, yada. So that's what we're looking for here. You can do it without the dash P53, but this just makes things easier because that's what they want us to look for, right? So why not just type that in there for that specific port? We're not getting all this other extra junk in there. Now this next one here, we're looking for this particular algorithm information, and we're going to run this script, and I went ahead and ran that as well. So I'm going to scroll up a little bit, and this is what my information looks like here. Dash dash script equals the name of the script and then the target of the IP address in question. And if we scroll down a little bit, we can see the information we're looking for here, which is going to be this right here, this Diffie-Hellman group 14 SHA-1. Now let's go ahead and continue on. So I'm going to scroll up and kill this machine here. That's task 5, saving the output. Now as we're reading through here, I'm going to go ahead and start this machine up so we can get everything ready to go. Whenever you run a Nmap scan, it is only reasonable to save the results in a file. Selecting and adopting a good naming convention for your file name is also crucial. The number of files can grow quickly and hinder your ability to find a previous scan result. The three main formats are number 1, normal, 2, greppable, and 3, XML. There is a fourth one that we cannot recommend, Script Kitty. Okay, we're going to talk about normal ones. As the name implies, the normal format is similar to the output you get on the screen when scanning a target. You can save your scan in normal format by using the dash little o capital N and the name of the file. N stands for normal. Here is an example of the results. So they went ahead and catted that particular machine IP dash nmap. So that's the name of their file, right? And it looks like, okay, it looks like everything's populating finally. Okay, so this is their scan result in that file, right, that they catted, and it's got everything in here, right? You got the commands that they used and the applicable results of the information, right, from the scans. Now let's go ahead and continue on to greppable. Greppable format has its name from the command grep. Grep stands for Global Regular Expression Printer. In simple terms, it makes filtering the scan output for specific keywords or terms efficient. You can save the scan result in greppable format by using the dash little o capital G and then the file name. The scan output displayed above is normal format, is shown in the console below using grepl format. The normal output is 21 lines, however, the grepl format is only 4 lines. The main reason is that Nmap wants to make each line meaningful and complete when the user applies grep. As a result, the grepl outputs, the lines are so long and are not convenient to read compared to normal output, and that's what it looks like here. An example use of grep is grep and then the keyword and then text file or the file. This command will display all the lines containing the provided keyword. Let's compare the output of using grep on normal output and grep output. You will notice that the former does not provide the IP address of the host. Instead, it returned 80 TCP open HTTP yada yada, making it very inconvenient. if you are sifting through the scan results of multiple systems. However, the later provides enough information, such as the host IP address in each line, to make it complete, and that's what it looks like here. All right, so XML. Third format is XML. You can save the scan results in XML using the dash little capital X, then the name of the file. The XML format would be most convenient to process the output in other programs. Conveniently enough, you can save the scan output in all three formats using the dash little o capital A, the name of the file, to combine all three together, right? For normal, grepl, and XML, and script kiddie. A fourth format is script kiddie. You can see that this form is useless if you want to search the output for any interesting keywords or keep the results for future reference. However, you can use it to save the output in the Nmap scan, and this is what it looks like here. Display the output file name and look, I guess that's supposed to be elite, in front of friends who are not tech savvy. And this is what it looks like here. Okay, you can see that's a bunch of gobbledygook in this. It looks crazy. And question time. I've already terminated the machine, so if you haven't terminated the machine before in the previous task, be sure to do so. All right, and then start up this one. On the attack terminal, issue the command scp yada yada yada. So I'm going to copy and paste. It says to download the Nmap reports in normal and grepl formats from the target virtual machine. Note that the username pentester has the password of the following here. Check the attached Nmap logs. How many systems are listening on the HTTPS port? So I'm just going to open up a new tab here and paste this over. Actually, let's cd into our home directory and clear all this stuff out. Now let's go ahead and get these reports here. I'm going to say yes. All right, there we go. All right, so we need to find the HTTPS port. What is the IP address of the system listening on port 8089? So let's go ahead and try that. So what I did was I catted out this particular file, the .nmap file, right? I piped it into grep, and then this is what I was looking for, HTTPS. Hit enter, and it should come up with showing that there's 3 in here. And this last one here is a similar one, except we're going to use the other file, which is the gnmap one. All right, we're going to cat that file, and then we're going to pipe it into grep, and then we're going to search for 8089, so hit enter, and then you'll get the IP address of the host. So let's go ahead and close out this video with task number 6, summary. In this room, we learn how to detect the running services and their versions along with the host operating system. We learn how to enable traceroute, and we covered selecting one or more scripts to aid in penetration testing. Finally, we covered the different formats to save the scan results for future reference. The table below summarizes the most important options we covered in this room. And I'm not going to go over all of this, but be sure to pause the video and read through this. Dash SV, meaning determined service slash version, info on open ports, and then version light, try the most likely probes, version all, try all available probes, dash capital O, detect OS, and you can see the rest there. And that concludes the series of Nmap rooms and this video. If you are new here, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. Hit that like button if you're enjoying the content. Comment below your thoughts and opinions. As always, thank you all for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you later.